Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. And if you're one of my 18 subscribers, then welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm sorry I haven't really posted in like 2 weeks. I have been moving around a little bit. I'm at my boyfriend's house right now, so that's where I'm staying. It's kind of been hard to film, so I'm in a different setup. I hope the lighting is like doable, but I'm just gonna talk to you guys about gap years today, so hopefully it won't be too bad. So I feel like taking a gap year before medical school is something that's become a lot more common these days. And I've taken 2 years off. So I did the past 2 years out of college. I graduated in 2018. So I've been doing a bunch of different things. And back when I was in college, I viewed taking a gap year as a bad thing. I thought maybe 1 year would be fine. But when I found out that I was gonna do 2 years, I was actually really upset about it. And I felt like it was something that was actually gonna hurt me. But now it's something that's super popular. I think actually most people take some time off, so it's super common, and people take more than a year off. You know, a lot of people are taking like 2 or 3 years, and then there are people that go back to school and they'll take like 5 or 10 years off. So there's a really broad spectrum, but in this video I want to talk to you guys about the things that I did in the past few years and how those things helped me prepare for medical school and helped with my application. And then I also want to talk about some other ideas if you're considering taking a gap year, or if you really just don't know and you don't really know what you want to do. Those might help you. I think it's something that is really not necessary for everyone. Not everyone wants to do it, but I think more and more people are realizing that they do want to take one. So hopefully you can figure that out in this video. And so without further ado, let's just hop right in. So I want to start with talking about what to do if you're considering taking a gap year and you don't really know if it's something you should do. So I think that gap years are really good for people that either need a boost in their GPA, they want to get more volunteering experience or research experience, they maybe want more time to study for the MCAT, or they just have some really cool opportunity that they want to take advantage of. Of course, when you go to med school, you're going to be super busy, so I think that time is just useful if there's something that you want to do before you start your medical journey, and that's just like the perfect time to do it because you don't have college and you don't have medical school yet, and you can do something different that maybe you've always wanted to do. You know, I think if there's something that you really want to do in life, it's a really good time to do this because you have a solid chunk of time where you could really take as much time as you want. I wouldn't take like too much time off because you still want to be focused enough to go to school, and obviously you need your classes and your MCAT score to be valid for that time period. But you know, you have that time where if there's something that you've always wanted to do, this is the perfect time to do it. And medical school is really difficult, so definitely don't be afraid to do the things that you want to do before med school starts. The other thing that you can do is focus on earning some extra money. So I think that's great because med school is a time where you won't be earning an income. You'll be taking out loans most likely. So taking some time off to earn some extra money would be really useful. And as long as you keep your expenses low, you could use that time super wisely and make sure that you are saving so that when you go to med school, you at least have a little bit of money in the bank. Obviously, that probably won't pay for med school depending on what you're doing, but it could definitely help if you are struggling with loans from college and you're just trying to figure out, you know, what you want to do, and you also want to take a break. You know, that's another thing. If you just want to take a break between college and med school and you want to do something that's not school related, that is definitely the time to do it because med school is going to be intense, and I think it's just good to give yourself a break. I mean, a lot of people don't really feel this way, and they feel like they can just go from college to med school really smoothly, but it's definitely a good idea if you're like, I'm burnt out and I want a break before I have to go into medicine. So I want to tell you guys what I did. So the first thing that I did is I took some classes. So when I was in college, I actually ended up becoming pre-med a little bit later. I was like halfway through my second year, and then I was already scheduled to study abroad the next year, and I was like a political science major, and I did a bunch of different things. So I didn't end up fitting in my courses, all my pre-med courses. I took, I think maybe like half of them. I think I took most of them actually. but I still had to take a full year orgo, a full year bio, and I didn't take biochem. So I ended up taking all those courses after I graduated from college. And I think because I wasn't in college full time at that point, it was really helpful for studying and focusing on those courses individually. And I think that's why it was much easier for me to do well. I'm sure if I took those courses during college, it would have been really difficult because I was studying a lot for them and they're really, really difficult. However, that is a challenging thing to do. I would say this is good if you are trying to get a boost in your GPA, or if you have courses that you have not taken and you just need to fulfill them. But I wouldn't recommend just putting those courses off just for the sake of having more time after you graduate college, because they still take up a lot of time and it's really expensive to do that. You end up spending like thousands of extra dollars on making sure that you have those courses. And I just found like going between different schools was just a mess. And I felt like my first year when I was taking orgo and I was also studying for the MCAT during that time, like I wasn't really doing a lot. I felt like I was just still in school even though I was taking a lighter course load. It just wasn't, you know, the best, but obviously if this is something you have to do, then you have to do it. So the second thing that I did is I took more time to volunteer. So I volunteered in a different setting and I actually loved the place that I volunteered at, and I'm so happy that I did it. And then I also did a little bit of research, and I think research is really great if you don't have a ton of research experience already, or if you don't have a lot of volunteering experience, then that's great as well. But I really didn't like the research experience that I was doing at all, and I don't regret doing it because it is something that I feel like I learned a little bit from, and I was able to have something that I was doing during my interview year. But honestly, I really, really hated my research, and it just was not something that I think was like really worth the time. And then during my interview year, so at this point I did orgo and bio and MCAT during my first year, and then my second year, which was my interview year, I was taking biochem, I was doing that research, I was still volunteering, and then I also was TAing for orgo, so for the class that I took the year before. So that was also really great. And then, as I talked about, I spent a lot of time studying for the MCAT during my first year. So while I was taking bio and then I took orgo, I had a good amount of time to study for the MCAT. And then I think during May, when classes finished, I had an extra 2 weeks where I just studied for the MCAT. And that was super helpful. So I wasn't just like in the midst of school. I had some time that I could take off and just focus on studying for the test. Okay, so now I want to talk about some ideas that I have for you guys if you're considering taking one and none of the things that you heard me do were that interesting. Honestly, I feel like I could have done like more interesting things with my gap year time. I mean, I think the courses were definitely necessary, the MCAT was necessary, and I liked my volunteering experience, but I wish I had done something that was a little bit more interesting in research. That was stuff that I wouldn't have been able to do when I was in med school, but I think there are some really good things that you can do that are very interesting and unique depending on what you're looking for. The first thing that I see people doing is going to grad school and either getting a master's in public health, so an MPH, or getting their master's in something else like bioethics. You don't necessarily have to study those topics or something that's medically related, but I do see people doing a lot of more health or medically related grad school programs, and I think that's so cool. I wish I'd done my MPH, but I ended up not doing it because I had some other courses to take and it was just too expensive to spend my interview getting a whole nother degree. So I didn't end up doing that, but I really wish I had. I feel like that would be one of the coolest things to do, to just like spend more time learning. And I know a lot of people would not want to do that during this time, so I totally get that as well. But if you're somebody that is interested in some other sort of master's program and it wouldn't be too expensive to do it, or you have the means, or you know, whatever the situation is for you, then I feel like that would just be like a really cool idea. So the next thing, and I know a lot of people talk about some of these, but I think that working as a scribe or an EMT or working in some sort of medically or health related position where you could get paid would also be really cool. This would be really great if you want to make some money and you also want some more exposure to the field. So let's say you don't have a ton of clinical hours, and this is obviously a really good idea because you are working in the hospital or you're working with patients and you get a first-hand look at what goes on a lot of the time, or you're just getting more exposure with individuals and working with them. And so I think this would be really great if you are one of those people that would like that. I think this is something that would look really cool. I think maybe like the scribe thing is something that's been done pretty often, but the EMT especially I think would be cool because you probably learn about so many different types of medical conditions and you get to see what people in the healthcare field do. So, you know, I think that would be super cool, especially if you are looking for a paid job and let's say you don't want to do research. The next thing that I think would be really cool is if you have a startup idea or a nonprofit idea. I think it'd be so great to work on that during that time. You know, if you have something that you want to do, it's just the perfect time to spend a year or two working on that project. I think this would be something that would be great if you have an idea or there's some sort of cause that you want to work on, and I'm sure this would look amazing in your application because you took the initiative to start something and really work on it. And so I think that would be really cool. I think another great thing is tutoring, which is great if you want to earn extra money and you can use your skill set. And then I think it also shows admissions committees that you are someone who can explain things to others, you're good at teaching, and you continue to help others through knowledge. You know, like you're taking your time and you are maybe earning a living or earning just some extra cash or, you know, whatever it is to help someone and be like an MCAT tutor or a bio tutor or whatever it is. You can definitely make a lot of money tutoring, and I wish this is something I did more. I did a lot of babysitting, but I feel like tutoring is like a little bit more interesting and you get to focus on those topics that you learned in your pre-med classes and then help someone else. The thing that I actually wish I did the most was probably go abroad and do something fun like that and do some sort of fellowship abroad. I know that Fulbright is a really popular one that's probably like the most competitive, but there's so many other ones that people do and I wish I did that. That would have been so much fun. I really wanted to go abroad, but you can't go abroad during interviews, so I would have had to wait after, and now we're in coronavirus season, so that's not working. And then I couldn't go the year before since I was taking those courses and I had to finish them, and then I also had to take the MCAT. But if I didn't have to take those courses, or let's say like I took another year off, I really wish I could go abroad. I think that would be so much fun and just to explore something. I know there's a lot of medically related fellowships that people do abroad, but there's some others that are not medically related, but I'm sure they would also be amazing. I feel like if you're doing something where you're growing and you're actively working on something or you're part of something, then I don't think it's necessary to constantly be doing something that's medically related, as long as when you apply you already have the amount of research hours and volunteer hours that you need. But if you're doing something that's not medically related, but you're really passionate about it and it's helping you, then I feel like there's not really an issue with that, and there's so many things that you could do. Don't feel like you have to miss out on something just because you want to go to med school one day. However, on the other hand, I know a lot of people that felt like there wasn't really anything that they wanted to do before they went to med school, and so it didn't really make sense for them to take a gap year, and so they decided just to go straight through. So, you know, if you're one of those people, don't feel bad about that. You definitely don't have to take one just because that's what your friends are doing or that's what people you know are doing or people are advising. You can definitely go straight through, so I wouldn't worry about it. You know, either way, I would just do what seems right to you and don't really worry about what other people think. Just focus on what will help you become the best doctor. So yeah, I hope this helped. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and please subscribe. Like this video would help me so much, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys next time. Bye guys.